Okay, let's dive right into this. Welcome to another explainer, where we take complex, really fascinating blueprints and break them down into clear, structured visual insights. Today, we're unpacking a highly detailed, highly engineered framework for human organization known as the Stelalrium Society. But as you'll see, all these societal rules and blueprints, they're really just the biological hardware designed to run one massive, overarching AI governance system known as WaterGov. It's a pretty dense, highly structured ideology, so we're going to decode the whole shebang step by step.
Here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with the Stelalrium vision, break down their constitution, look at the role of governors, explore wealth activism, dive deep into the core engine of it all, WaterGov, and then finish up with their ultimate goal, the path to Eden.
All right, Section 1, the Stelalrium vision, a mutually beneficial society. Before we look at the mechanics, we really need to understand the foundational problem and solution arc that the source text proposes.
The text makes a super deliberate effort to distance the society from traditional labels. Notice the description on the left representing their core identity, a strictly mutually beneficial society. Basically, a voluntary association aimed at enriching its members' lives. But then, look at the stark barrier on the right. The text draws a hard line here. They are unequivocally not a political or religious organization. The documents argue that partisan politics are just inherently divisive, and religious dogma requires faith, whereas the Stelalrium Society claims to be built purely on pragmatic, evidence-based wealth creation and shared prosperity.
To actually pull this off, they operate on a proprietary philosophy called the Stelalrium Way. Notice those 6 interconnected pillars circling the core: liberty, empowerment, peace, love, fun, and wealth creation. Now, I know it sounds a bit like the rules for an intense utopian summer camp, but the source text insists these aren't just feel-good buzzwords. These are the strict metrics by which literally every action and project within the society is evaluated.
Moving on to Section 2, Framework of the Constitution, Governance by Principles. This is where the text shifts from abstract philosophy into a highly structured legal and decision-making framework.
And this brilliantly illustrates how they do it. Every significant decision, whether made by a member or a leader, has to pass through this exact 3-stage filter. Think of it almost like an algorithm. First, does it align with the principles? Does it generate wealth and peace? Second, does it obey the law, which they define simply as do good, make money, have fun? And third, does it meet the universal standard, the ethical baseline of do not kill, do not steal, and do not bear false witness? If a project fails even one of these columns, the text states it absolutely must be abandoned or redesigned.
To manage all of this, the source documents outline a fictional, utopian constitutional hierarchy, and it is a strictly top-down model. At the very peak is the ruler, who is advised by a 24-person rulers' council. Below them, you've got specialized ministries overseeing everything from commerce to peace. And at the local level, cities are managed by governors, who are assisted by 120-person citizens' councils. Just imagine your current local city hall replaced by this exact, strict, corporate-style hierarchy. It's an intricate design that places a massive premium on structured leadership and total administrative transparency.
Which brings us to Section 3, the role of governors, architects of prosperity. In this model, governors are the strategic orchestrators.
They aren't just paper-pushing bureaucrats. They are described as the architects of prosperity. The text outlines 7 core responsibilities for a governor, treating the role as a sacred duty. They have to walk the walk by living the lifestyle and recruit with extreme discernment. They must act as hyper-transparent accountants, and they physically build the network through local hubs called Stelalrium mansions. From teaching principles to building relationships, they're the ultimate managers of both culture and capital, tasked with expanding the entire franchise. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that massive 1% right in the center. Every single member is required to contribute exactly 1% of their gross income directly to their governor. Think of it like an uncompromising societal HOA fee, or maybe a subscription to prosperity. The text is totally adamant that this is not a tax, nor is it charity. It's viewed as a strategic investment into a collective treasury, which the governor then uses to fund shared businesses, infrastructure, and initiatives that benefit everyone.
But you can't just pay your 1% and waltz right in. Follow this rigorous vetting pipeline. It starts with initial observation, moves into deep behavioral interviews, includes an actual quiz on their specialized concepts, and culminates in a formal oath. This really highlights that the Stelalrium Society is not aiming to be some huge mass movement. It is designed as an exclusive, carefully curated network of individuals who completely align with their uncompromising standards.
Okay, Section 4, Wealth Activism in Action, Engineering Prosperity. Let's look at how the society actually plans to execute its vision in the real world.
Members and governors engage in what the text calls evidence-based policy advocacy. If you've ever been frustrated by the cost of rent or groceries, and honestly, who hasn't, their approach is to treat entire nations like highly efficient companies. They lobby for subsidized jobs initiatives to ensure full economic utility, enterprise housing pledges to fix affordability, and even the creation of highly efficient state companies for essentials like agriculture and construction to drive down basic living costs.
The underlying mechanism for all this policy work is a concept they call structural incentive engineering. The text defines this as the science of designing rewards and penalties so that individual self-interest perfectly aligns with systemic collective goals. In simple terms, they believe if you rig the game so that being greedy actually helps the community, complex societal problems basically solve themselves. People will naturally drive collective prosperity just by trying to maximize their own rewards.
Section 5, the Water Technology Suite and WaterGov. Now, everything we've discussed so far, the rules, the 1%, the governors, is just the biological hardware. This section is all about the software designed to run it.
Look at the vibrant, interconnected energy in this visual. The sources provide this image to represent the water suite of products. We're talking about a massive deployment of AI, robotics, and advanced software intended to serve as the technological building blocks for an abundant world. It's a really vivid representation of their tech-first approach.
So the crucial point is this right here, WaterGov. This is the absolute centerpiece of the Stelalrium blueprint. Imagine replacing the endless grinding bureaucracy of a modern State Department with a highly advanced AI economy foundational model. The documents propose integrating this high technology directly into public administration. The goal? To radically decrease red tape, hyper-optimize public spending, and make basic goods effortlessly affordable. It is, quite literally, a total AI-driven reinvention of how a state operates.
And supporting the massive WaterGov AI are practical real-world arms like Water AI, which acts as a digital automated workforce for both the state and private enterprises, and the Enterprise Housing Pledge. This pledge blends technological efficiency with collaborative philanthropy using leveraged assets to physically build affordable housing. Basically, it takes the cold, calculating efficiency of WaterGov and applies it to real-world brick-and-mortar infrastructure.
Let's move to Section 6, the Path to Eden, a society of leaders. This is the ultimate endgame of the whole blueprint.
The culture required to reach this so-called Eden is incredibly demanding. The text states it very plainly. There are no bystanders. There are no passengers. There are only leaders. It's an uncompromising internal culture. Everyone is expected to carry their weight, master these complex concepts, and aggressively pursue the society's overarching vision of engineered prosperity.
Which leaves us with a really fascinating question. The source material presents a highly engineered blueprint, driven by rigid principles, 1% contributions, and most importantly, the overarching AI governance of WaterGov. But could a machine-like model truly function within the messy, unpredictable realities of human nature? It's a provocative thought about our future. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep questioning the structures around you.